Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. I have been spending all week propagating and rehabbing Peperomia. That has been literally the plant of the week for me today. So I am going to show you what I've been doing and just why Peperomia are some of my favorite plants, because they're just so easy to take care of and reproduce. I've gotten some rehab obstilifolia that I took a video of everything that I was doing to try to save it. So check that out if you haven't. But it is just proved to me that it is one of the easiest plants to take care of, rehab, and just save, even though it seemed like it might be long gone. So I'm going to show you basically all my favorite things about Peperomia. So if you're interested in that, let's get into it. So first of all, Peperomia are a bit more unique in that they can root and grow an entirely new plant from a single leaf that falls off. For instance, I have this Peperomia scandens, I believe it's called. It's variegated, so variegated scandens, and it's a, I don't know if it's so much a trailing as it is a climbing Peperomia, but it branches out a lot more than most do. And I got it not too long ago, but when I did get it, I tried to put it in a hanging pot, and the little hanger bits hit against some of the stems and snapped them. And I was so sad because I was like, oh no, I'm losing leaves on this already. What am I gonna do? Because I didn't want to just kind of throw away those bits and keep losing bits on my new plant. So I did take it out of that hanger so that wouldn't happen again. And so it's in its new home now. But I thought that this plant wouldn't propagate as most Peperomia do, because it has nodes along the stems. So it has areas that the leaves come out of rather than kind of growing in a bit of a bush formation a watermelon Peperomia does and all that. So I thought, since there's roots growing out of the little node areas, that means that that's the only place that it can grow roots, kind of like a string of hearts would, a pothos would, philodendron, all that sort of stuff. But I thought, okay, it's a Peperomia though, and Peperomia I know can root from just one leaf, so might as well just stick this little broken part in water and see what happens. And let me show you what the result was. That was about, give or take, 3 weeks ago or so. So after 3 weeks of being in water, those little broken off cuttings have been in this little Peperomia propagation vase. But let me show you. So it's not just one leaf. It was multiple leaves connected to a node, and then further down was just the stem, which broke off from a node. So we have it here. There's 2 leaves and one growing in now. The node is up here where the roots usually grow out, and then you have got roots down at the bottom of the stem where there was no node. It was just literally mid-stem. So now that should be able to grow an entirely new plant, which I'm super excited about because I love baby plants, and I love that it didn't go to waste, even though it snapped off. So that was super exciting for me. And I'm super excited to see it grow more. It did take a while to grow the roots compared to some Peperomia that I've propagated, but it still did fantastic. Another Peperomia that I've been propagating is a watermelon Peperomia, and I have the main plant of the Peperomia, and it's not doing fantastic, I've got to admit. It's not bad compared to a lot of plants, but it's not, I can tell it's not as happy as it could be, and it might be just because it's not fully mature yet, but it just, yeah, we'll talk about that some other time. But there was one leaf on it that looked a bit rougher than the rest, so I cut him up, and I was just okay, I'll just leave him on the stem and I'll just put him in water, see what he does, because he was gonna die on the plant anyways. So I put him in water just thinking maybe I'll buy myself some time so I can figure out what to do with him. So I've had him in water for a couple months now, I think, and he's definitely got the biggest root system I've seen on my propagations so far. He hasn't grown any new sprouts yet, because I know they'll grow roots. These Peperomia cuttings will grow roots, and then they will sprout some new growth, and then they'll form a whole new plant from that. So here is my cutting, and then let's show you the roots. Look at the root system on him. He's just a single leaf cutting, and he's got all those roots, and the roots are very delicate. So you don't want to keep them out of water for very long, because they will dry up and basically be useless. As I'm looking at the bottom here, it looks like there is the tiniest new growth sprout. I'm so excited for a whole new watermelon peperomia. Hopefully I can do well with it, considering I'm the one that's like planting it and taking care of it, and it's stayed in the same conditions its entire life. Whereas the other one, I kind of took it from a nursery and they just sometimes don't adjust very well. But I'm super hopeful about that. And I need to show you my most successful propagation, I guess. This is, it's from a Peperomia Rosso. And so I'm pretty sure I've told this story before, but I was getting the plant from a friend and then a leaf had dropped off in my car. So I just stuck it in some water when I got home because I was just like, what the heck, let's just do it. I didn't know that it would grow roots because I didn't know a ton about Peperomia at the time, just because I hadn't really owned a ton of them. I think at that point I had only owned an obstulafolia like a year prior, but it was a little Rosso, and if I have the picture of the roots like a while ago when they first started forming and everything, I'll put that here. But it started out just the little leaf, and then a couple of roots came in, and I saw a little tiny green sprout of like new growth come in about a month after I put it in water, and I decided to pot it in a little tiny 2-inch pot and just kind of put it on the windowsill and forgot about it, just watered it when it was like really light and dry. And now I have a whole new plant on the back. Let me show you. So that is the original leaf that I planted, and here is the entirely new plant on the back. It's still a very like small baby plant, of course, but I just think it's so cute because it just came from that one leaf and now it's a whole new plant, and it's taking off. I'm so excited about this. It's the first one that I check every single day just to see all the new growth that's coming in on it. And when I saw that first leaf sprout up, I was so excited. I'm pretty sure I sent a picture of it to everybody that I know. And the most recent Peperomia that I've kind of taken on and taken cuttings of is from my variegated obstinafolia. That is this one. I have 3 of these that I'm rehabbing right now, trying to see what conditions they like best. So I'm doing a bit of like trial and error as well, just to see what growing conditions are best for it. But I took off a lot of the like old leaves that were there just because they looked a bit rough. And there was one leaf in particular that was all healthy except at the like base of the leaf going into the stem, it was like basically broken off. So I've stuck it in water, and it's only been in water for a day. And I do actually see some tiny little roots sticking out already. That's insane. The roots are so tiny that you won't be able to see it on the camera, but there are some little tiny roots showing up there. And the bottom was a bit like calloused over and almost like rotted, like it's kind of dark at the bottom, so it might not live there. But if that happens, I'll just cut some more off the bottom so it's like a fresh leaf and stick it in. But literally, it's like completely healthy other than it was falling off the plant, like someone had broken it and it just hadn't broken completely off. So he is in there propagating with the rest of the Peperomia. And I hope he does well because that'd be such a cute little plant to have as well. And the last plant that I have, or Peperomia cutting, because string turtles are technically Peperomia, and I've sold my main plant, but I had 2 cuttings from it that were literally like this big, because I just wanted to give myself a second go at it. I just didn't feel like I didn't have enough like circumstances, time, energy, all that sort of stuff to put into the full plant of my string of turtles to make it truly and properly happy and thriving, because it wasn't like declining or anything, but it wasn't completely where I wanted it to be. So I just had some cuttings from when I first got the plant, and I've had them in water, so they've been growing roots for quite a while. But yeah, so let me grab those real quick and show you kind of the state of those right now. Okay, so these are the tiniest turtles you'll ever see, I'm sure, in your entire life. But it was just a short little strand that had fallen off when I first got the plant. And I just plopped it in some water. So it's got a bunch of nodes along the stem where there were leaves, but they had fallen off, or there's, I don't know. And there's roots coming out of like all of those now. And then also, if I get a bit closer for you, also I have new growth coming in at the bottom and then also at the top. So we've got new growth down here and then also up here by my thumb. So we've got new growth all over there, and that is super exciting because It wasn't happy before, but now it looks like it is. So I'm going to pop that in with the rest of my Peperomia cuttings, and hopefully he likes it in there. He's been propagating with my string of hearts just because they're both strings. So it was easier just in that container, but now I kind of want to keep them all together based on what they are. But then my second propagation that I have is a bit chunkier. There's a bit more like turtles on here. Once again, down by the roots, there's a lot of new little sprouts of growth. Not very big turtles, but there's a good amount of roots down there too. And then also the main bit where there was already growing happening when it was in soil, and starting putting out some more like sun-stressed turtles on there. So they're really cool looking, and I quite enjoy them actually. And I'm planning on potting these up in some tiny little pots soon to see if they do any better. But I'm quite happy with how easily they've actually propagated, because I was kind of expecting them to be a bit of a nightmare since the main plant wasn't like super easy to take care of, but they've actually proved to be really good. So I 10 out of 10 would recommend string of turtles. So that's basically it in terms of propagating Peperomia. Like literally any fallen leaf or stem or whatever, like I think you definitely need at least one leaf on there. I don't think you can propagate just like a stem. So as long as you have one leaf, whether it's connected to a stem or not, you can propagate Peperomia and make as many plants as you want for it. And once the roots get like quite a bit bigger, you can just pot them up and you'll have a new plant. I would suggest waiting until new growth comes out, just because it shows that the plant is like actively growing. I know some people don't think you should do that because then it's like the plant has had a lot of time to spend in the water, so then it makes the adjustment period harder. But I haven't had any problems with mine waiting until there's like some new growth coming in. So I just find that's more fun because it's not necessarily as much of a guessing game of when it's going to grow and sprout new growth. And I just like seeing baby plants grow, to be honest. So I would wait until there's new growth on your base of your cutting and then pot those up and watch them grow in their soil. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys found this helpful and informative and all that sort of stuff. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.